G'day there guys, Connor here again, and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoyed these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Okie dokie, we're on relationships. This one was written by user Ugly Woman, and it's titled, Husband Admits I Am Ugly. I am an unattractive woman, objectively. I've always been this way, and while I have accustomed myself to it, it nonetheless remains a daily fact that being an ugly woman sucks. I met my husband 4 years ago, and he's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. He has always and frequently told me I'm beautiful, and somehow sounded honest, without sounding like my mother, like someone without another option to answer. Last night, Saturday, he had a group of friends over to our home. They meet several times a month to hang out, catch up and play games. He's known most of these guys since high school. I was upstairs in the kitchen preparing drinks and snacks when I was able to hear them in the basement and began to eavesdrop, which I know was rude, but it wasn't really intentional. I realised they were talking about me. A couple of guys were teasing my husband about me, specifically about my looks. I could tell it was supposed to be funny. It was not. There was a point where one of them referred to me as a troll, and my husband blew up, started shouting, "Listen, shut the F up. I know that OP is ugly, but shut up. She makes me happy. Does your bimbo of the week do that, Jim? Dave, how long has it been since we've hung out and you haven't bitched about your wife?" He went on for a while defending me, but all I could hear was, "I know she's ugly, I know she's ugly, I know she's ugly," again and again in my head. It just broke me. I don't know why. I've always known I'm unattractive, but he isn't supposed to. He tells me I'm beautiful so sincerely and consistently, I'd started to actually believe he thought that. I started to cry and ran into a shower so no one could hear me. When I came out an hour later, everyone had gone home, far earlier than normal. I went to bed and then haven't spoken to him all day today, but I think I've been able to avoid letting him know I'm upset, or avoiding him. I know rationally that what he said was true and sweet, and that I should be happy he loves me and not my body, but it doesn't seem to matter. I just want to be pretty. God, I feel so shallow. I've been crying all day. What do I say to him? Part of me wants to call him a liar, to scream and yell and cry, while the other part just wants to run away and never have to talk to him again, and acknowledge that even the greatest man I will ever meet can't find me attractive. Oh man, that's heartbreaking. But it's clear to me that the husband really loves her for who she is, and in the heat of the moment, yeah, it came out pretty harsh, but ultimately I think the intentions are sincere. Let's go to the comments. To put his sentiments another way, quote, "You and I both know there are more beautiful women, but not to me." That's sweet, and probably is exactly what he meant. Yep, when you're fighting with your friends, you're not at your most eloquent in the heat of the moment and all. Seriously, I know hearing this must have hurt, but a lot of women would kill for a guy that stood up for them like this. It actually sounds like your husband puts the correct amount of emphasis on looks, and you are focusing too much on them. You've got a keeper on your hands. I'm so very sorry this happened to you. My heart breaks for you because the pressure and value on us women to be beautiful is just immense and lifelong. However, just because your husband may objectively perceive that you are ugly does not mean that he's not attracted to you. It is possible to be incredibly homely and immensely sexy, and the reverse, there are beautiful people that can leave you cold, even make your flesh creep. I think that what your husband really meant was, "I know that my wife is ugly according to social convention, but to me she is a beautiful person, a loving and sexy woman, and I find her as attractive as someone with slightly more even features or longer legs or whatever." He didn't say all that because he lost his cool, and because it's hard to articulate it. But he loves you. That's what you need to focus on. I also think that you need to differentiate between beauty and attractiveness. The latter is far more about confidence, attitude, personality, style. If you've been burying yourself away a bit because of your concerns, then don't. Step out. F the world. You have what millions of far more beautiful women and men never will. Someone who loves you for you. This nails it, and I'll just add, as a guy who's fallen for girls all across the pretty spectrum, you do know when the girl you find so beautiful isn't considered so by most people. Sad, but true. But you know what? Other than the more vain among us, the response in this situation is usually, screw 'em, who cares what people think? When a guy really falls in love with a girl, he looks at her face, he looks in her eyes, and he thinks, almost without resignation, I really don't know what I would change. She's beautiful. And if he's lucky, and things work out, and they build a happy life together, that feeling, while still true, grows into something more, because she becomes a part of him. Looks? Those are for the people on the outside. They're inside each other now, and when people reach that point, there's still an attraction, sure, but they really don't think of things in those terms anymore. They're too close for that. I think you should just tell your husband how you feel. I think it will break his heart to see how much hurt he caused you, but I also think he'll see you feel better by talking to him, and he would take that trade every single time. Look, it sucks you heard what you heard. I know, I'm sorry. But seriously, keep things in perspective. Yeah, really well put. Okay, on to an update, 2 days later. This one turned out really long, sorry. First off, I'd just like to say thanks. Just wow. Over the last 2 days, I've had literally hundreds of messages and PMs. You guys rock. Seriously, look at that thread. That's got to have one of the best positivity and sweetness to meanest jerk ratio on all of Reddit, like ever. You guys knocked it out of the park for me. I'm still figuring out why. So yesterday, after getting a barrage of support from you guys on my phone every couple of minutes non-stop all day, I decided to try and confront my husband over what I'd overheard. After we were both home from work, I told him I needed to talk. I told him I'd overheard him and his friends, and he immediately started to apologize for them, saying they were jerks and a-holes, and that I should have told him I'd heard. I had to stop him to let me get a word in and tell him it wasn't his friends so much as it was what he said. When I told him what he said, his whole tone changed. I could tell he wasn't expecting to be blamed. I had the whole conversation planned out. I wanted to explain how it made me feel, how I thought he really was attracted to me, and how betrayed it made me feel to hear him say that behind my back. But I just started to cry, and couldn't really communicate what I wanted to say very well. He was awesome though, and just held me, and then after a minute started to speak like he was reading right out of the nicest comments in the original thread, telling me he was just angry and didn't speak very well, that he really does find me attractive, even if the world doesn't, and his friends don't. I calmed down pretty quick. I'd basically cried myself out the day before. He took me to his computer and showed me an email he sent to all of his friends on Sunday. I wish I could copy-paste it now, but he basically called all his friends a-holes, said they'd crossed the line from good-natured trash talk to just being a-holes, and then continued going far beyond. He said that, for the time indefinite, they'd have to find another host, were no longer welcome in my home. He actually said my name's home. I thought that would make it sound like I was ordering him around being a bee, but he said he just wanted to emphasize how wrong what they were doing was. Seeing him stand up for me again made me happy, especially seeing me do it without talking bad about me, helping me believe it really was just heat of the moment bad word choice. He told me to wait in the room and left, coming back with a folder. He said he was going to give me this for Christmas, but that he'd get me something else. I tried to say no, but he insisted. It was plane tickets and brochures. He's set up a trip in early January to this spa/hotel resort thing in British Columbia. It was pretty mind-blowing. But I realized that it had to be several thousands of dollars he spent. We budget pretty thoroughly. He shouldn't have been able to spend that without me noticing. I asked where he got the money, and he said he'd been planning this for more than a year, and saving all the money assigned to his weekly spending money, and collecting where I wouldn't notice, change from groceries, etc. When I say that sometimes I'm not sure I deserve him, understand that I'm not having a crisis I need help dealing with. He's just really awesome. He's taking me out for dinner, so I have to go, but I'll be on again tonight. Oh well, what a great guy. Alright, some final comments. All I have to say is you must be a kick-ass person, not just your hubby. Even the best of men don't do this for just your average nice gal. They do this for someone amazing that they feel blessed to share their lives with. His love for you is so obvious and strong. And guess what? You deserve it. You deserve to be with this kind, appreciative, loving man that refuses to let you be disrespected by his friends. Because you are a kind, loving, beautiful, smart person. As one of the comments said yesterday, F what the world thinks. It's what the people that matter think of you. And it looks like the people that matter know how lucky they are to have you in their life. Good guy all around. Listen, I don't find myself attractive, and I'm sure most people don't think I am either. My husband has always called me beautiful. When I'm down on myself and calling myself ugly, like I'm overweight and I'm dealing with it, but I've been sitting on negative feelings about myself forever, therapy is helping. It is a good thing for me to vent these feelings and not be ashamed to feel the way I do. He always says, "Do you think I'd marry an uggo? Not a chance. We both know how you feel about your weight, and while I'm concerned about your health, I wouldn't have married you if I didn't find you attractive the way you are. If you lose weight, get healthier, and become happy with who you are, that is only the icing on the cake for me. I can't believe people in your own house would be so rude. Awesome. Ladies, message for you all. We men, when we were very young, like teenagers, are obsessed with the physical appearance of women, but as we get a little older, we tend to not care about that as much. We just want someone who's great. When we find that great one, looks don't matter nearly as much as you ladies think it does. Yeah, it matters a little, but it depends on the guy in question. For me personally, attraction is positive if she's just attractive enough to look at without hurling. When we men find a woman who is great and we can love like OP's husband loves OP, we don't care what you look like. You stay with us, we'll stay with you. You scratch our back, we'll take you to a spa or resort. I did similar things with my ex-wife. We had lived paycheck to paycheck for a very long time, and we'd never been on any kind of vacation where we could travel. So the last year we were together, I was saving up to go on a cruise with her, something that would have been around $4,000. I was doing it because I wanted to be somewhere awesome with her, and I only cared about seeing her smile and have fun. Unfortunately, my ex had an affair before I showed her. OP, your husband is secure with you. I can cite so many reasons from your update alone to enforce it. You wish you could be prettier, that's okay. It's okay for someone to wish they could look a bit better. But understand this, your husband doesn't care. He likes you the way you are. It's possible that if you started doing things to improve your image, then he'll probably start to feel like he'll need to be more competitive. Alrighty guys, I'm going to leave that one there. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe you got a similar story you'd like to share. Otherwise, leaving that one there and moving on to the next. Alrighty, we're on the same subreddit. This one was written by user Old Aunt Help, and it's titled, My wife is taking care of her aunt, and it's killing our marriage. My daughter uses Reddit and is helping me type this today. I'm at a loss in what to do in this situation. My wife's aunt became a widow 2 years ago. She came to live with us because she was afraid of staying alone. Since we had extra rooms and that she was perfectly healthy and fine, we decided it was okay to let her stay with us. Over time, she grew more and more attached to my wife. She wouldn't want her to go to work because she'd miss her. She didn't want her to go shopping because it was always too long. She would follow her to parties and events, even if she didn't want to go because she didn't want to be without her. I told my wife that it was becoming unhealthy and that her aunt should talk more to her friends and try to meet with them. She has a couple friends around her age. My wife always told me that I was exaggerating and that there was nothing wrong. Recently, 6 months ago or so, the aunt caught bronchitis and then another viral infection and some type of spine pain. She became very dependent on us to move her. That's when things started going really bad. She required my wife's attention almost 24/7 and would cry when my wife wasn't around. She wanted my wife to sleep next to her, feed her, talk to her constantly, not go out, not go to work, etc. After a week, I complained to my wife about not spending any time with her and that her aunt was taking all of her. My wife dismissed my worries and told me that she would get better soon. After 2 months of her aunt acting like a baby and constantly complaining about pain, I suggested we go consult. The doctor said she was perfectly fine, nothing wrong. We had trouble believing it, so we consulted different specialists, and they ultimately said that if she keeps up her good health, she could live another 10 to 15 years. We met with a psychologist and he said that the aunt needs more tests to determine what she has, but that my wife and I clearly need to focus on us and not her aunt affecting our marriage. Since I am retired, I told my wife that we should finally go take the vacations we always wanted. I booked tickets to go on a cruise around Alaska. I even planned everything and asked my daughter, 35, to take care of her aunt. A week before going, I couldn't keep the secret anymore and told my wife what I'd done. My wife was clearly happy and amazed. I finally thought we could have some good alone time. When she let her aunt know later that night, it was a major catastrophe. The aunt cried, threw tantrums, called all her friends to let her know how awful we were to leave her alone. She even threw herself on the ground. I told my wife it was time to put her in a home for elders and that she couldn't stay with us anymore. My wife refused. She said she wasn't going to abandon her and that it's hard to be old. She also cancelled our vacations and said she's sure I'd understand. It hurt me a lot. I did end up going with my daughter instead and we had a great time, but that's besides the point. Now we are selling our house. It's too big for us. The aunt has a say in all of this. She requires a room with specific details, such as dimensions, views, number of stairs to come into the house, etc. My wife is actually listening to her, and it's making me more and more unhappy. I retired to spend time with her, our kids and our grandkids, but it feels like she's only spending time with her aunt. We are in couples counselling, and it's not helping us. I've been married to her for almost 45 years. I don't want to give her an ultimatum, as she is the love of my life, and I certainly don't ever want to be without her. I just want to spend quality time with her. Oh man, something's got to give here. Let's go to the comments. Is your wife willing to ruin your retirement and marriage for her aunt? You need to issue the ultimatum, as this isn't fair to you or her. Would getting professional care to look after her in your home be an option, instead of sending her to a nursing home? He says, we found this lovely lady who would come and take care of the aunt a couple hours a day. She speaks the same language and has over 25 years of experience. My wife refused, saying she's a stranger, and that if we need to pay someone, then we should do it ourselves and keep the money. I would just start taking the trips without her. Maybe she'll notice. Opie says, I took that trip without her. It was her dream trip. She did say that she wished she could have gone, but that was it. I think she feels like her aunt is her duty, kind of like when you have children. Is your wife of another ethnic or cultural background? Sometimes that plays into the situation. And if her family, speaking the non-local language, is used to relying upon one another, going to an outsider might seem even more difficult, no matter how qualified and caring. I'm in my 30s, and my husband and I are caring for my aged, widowed father in conjunction with all of my 4 siblings and paid caretakers by switching off days and weekends. It's really hard stuff and very frustrating. You don't mention where you're from, though since you mentioned cruising Alaska, I'm guessing you're in North America. But in the States, if someone is still competent to make their own decisions, i.e. doesn't have dementia, you can't put them in care against their will. It complicates things. You've been married to your wife for a very long time, so I would reach out to her and tell her that you want to make this situation as easy as possible for her, for the aunt, and for you. Find out the elder care laws. Find out what the requirements are to keep the aunt in her own home or yours. There are charitable groups that will do regular visits or agencies to offer respite care. There are adult daycare centres. I don't know what the compromise is here. My husband and I don't either. Opie replies, You're right. My wife used to take care of her mum who took care of her mum. It seems to be very cultural. The aunt has been living in America for 50 years, but never did any effort to learn English. She only speaks her native language, which really complicates things. Yeah, it certainly does. Okay, now for an update, 1 month later. Something completely magical happened. My wife and I were looking at a house we both actually love. It has every single thing we wanted in our retirement home, and it's close to everything that we need. We were thrilled, and when she told her aunt and showed her the pictures of the house, her aunt laughed and said, You can't buy that. It has stairs. I can't go up and down the stairs. Something clicked in my wife's mind. She simply said to her aunt, It's the house that my husband and I like, and the fact that it has some stairs that you are healthy enough to go up and down on won't stop us. Her aunt cried and cried. We called our new therapist, which suggested that we treat her like a child, check on her every 15 minutes, but not give in. We did that, and she got over it by the next morning. My wife also got more tough love with her aunt, and whenever she'll complain about stuff my wife knows are unreal, my wife dismisses it politely. Things aren't 100% perfect. The new therapist helped my wife a lot. She mainly focused on her and why my wife was feeling the almost nurturing need to be there for her aunt. Thank you, relationships, for the advice. Changing therapists was a great idea. I don't know if I would have had the courage to just follow through without you, but I did the very next day. Wow, talk about a weight off your shoulders. Some final comments. It's so much harder to care for elderly than children, especially when cultural context plays a huge role. Because children grow up, elders grow down and are usually more stubborn. When I read the first sentence, something completely magical happened, I thought the next one was going to say her aunt died. Quote, You can't buy that. It has stairs. I can't go up and down the stairs. In fact, my greatest fear in life isn't dying, it's being old enough that my mortal enemy is stairs. Stairs and bending over to pick stuff up off the floor. Watching my 88-year-old father pick stuff up has been eye-opening, Functional fitness is key as we age. Not just exercise, but exercise that lends itself to being able to do daily activities without much effort. Yeah, I heard somewhere that the best exercise you can do when getting older is to just lie on the floor prone and get up, and do that a couple times every morning. Not exactly an exercise, but it's probably harder for most people than you think. Anyway guys, that's it for that story, and that's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed those ones, thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.